Hello and welcome back to Lane 4 Podcast, where today we talk to an internet sensation, the swimsuit guy, who's also known as Sonny Trigg. And how are you doing today?
I'm doing really well, Isaac. Cheers for having me on and reaching out. And it's a shame we're not doing this in person because we're both right down in the southwest of the UK.
Yeah,
We're pretty
exactly.
near to each other, and yeah, we're repping the southwest region of Swim England.
Yeah, and just before we get into it, I just wanted to mention that we have a sponsor for today's podcast, and that is Try Hard. Try Hard's a really good like swim care brand, as Sonny knows this himself. Personally, I really like the eye gel that we use after the swim. And you can use code Lane4Podcast at checkout for 20% off.
Yeah, I can vouch for Try Hard. Their body wash. You've got to try their body wash. Have you tried it? It makes you feel tingly. It's got like
Yeah,
all
it's
sorts
like
of good stuff
yeah,
in it.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
give that.
Definitely, I can definitely agree with you on that one. All right, so tell us a bit about yourself. Let's hear a bit about you.
Yeah, so I'm Sonny. I'm a swimmer. I'm a coach. I make YouTube videos. I do reviews. But most of all, I'm just a swim fanatic. I love swimming. That's why I do everything I do because I think swimming's awesome. I'm a romantic of the sport, and yeah, I'm 28 now, getting older and older. So I'm 20 years in the sport and loving it as much as I did right at the start.
Okay, so you started swimming when you were what, around 8 years old then?
Roughly, give or take. Yep.
So were you like, what kind of stroke did you swim as a younger swimmer?
Um, I don't know. I kind of was at pretty traditional programs all the way going up, just age group stuff that was not very specific. So I swam it all. I probably always leaned towards freestyle and butterfly, but my first ever county time was in breaststroke just because the times in Essex County were so easy. So I was a county finalist for breaststroke, even though it was probably my worst stroke. I used to do like this terrible over the top of the water recovery because I don't know who I saw do it because no one's really done it at a great level. But yeah, I thought that was the way at 12 years old and made a county final in 50 and 100 breaststroke due to there only being 7 competitors. So yeah, um, that was my early days.
So what club did you swim for?
I've got quite the club resume behind me. So I started out at a club called Dunmo Atlantis. That was my very first club when I was yeah, still 9 years old. And then I moved to Witham Dolphins. So that's James Gibson's club, and that's our heritage. We're both Witham Dolphins. I then moved to Colchester Swimming Club, which is home of Laura Stevens, who just won the world title in the 200 butterfly.
Yep,
Then
yep.
from there, I moved to Ipswich, which was like the best in the East region. Us and Hatfield were the best, and I would say Ipswich was my club. So I was at Ipswich from 14 till 21. So Ipswich was that's still who I say. I'm an Ipswich swimmer. If anyone asks me where I swam, I say I'm an Ipswich swimmer. And then I went to coach at BSM Marlins in Oman. So I lived in Muscat for 3 years coaching at BSM Marlins. I then coached at Plymouth Leander briefly. I then coached at Energy Standard. I then coached at Dartmoor Darts. And now I'm kind of just freelance coaching who and where I can manage to get them.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So when you were did you say Ipswich for like
Yeah.
the majority of your swimming? What kind of level do you think you progressed to? Did you get to like nationals or?
Yeah. So I would say I was a late bloomer. I think I first made counties at 12. And I don't know if you've got siblings, Isaac, but I had a younger sister who was just better than me all the way through. So my sister made counties at 9 and I didn't make it, and I'm 2 years older, so I was 11 and wasn't a county swimmer. So I made my first counties at 12. I think I followed on to regions pretty soon after, so maybe let's say 13. I made regions, but again, my sister was winning bag cat. You won't remember bag cats, but we had bag cats back then, so she was already winning like age awards, and I barely qualified for regions. And then I won a regional title at 16. That was I think the first win I took. And then I still didn't qualify to nationals till I was 18 in the 100 butterfly, and I got the qualifying time to the 100th of a second. So I don't know if anyone out there is listening and wants to make it to nationals. Yeah, it took me till I was 18, and if I'd ever given it in earlier than that, I wouldn't have ever made it. But yeah, I made nationals at 18. um, there was qualifying times back then and just one national meet. So I hit the qualifying time. There was actually semi-finals back then as well. We had
Oh,
semi-finals at nationals. So that was the 17, 18 age group. I think I come 32nd of 65 competitors. Very different setup to how it is today. And then if you want to wait even further to make a meet, I made Olympic trials for the first time at 24.
Oh wow,
So
really?
yeah, so there we go. 18 for nationals, Olympic trials at 24.
So in terms of like kind of social media, you're obviously quite popular on social media.
Yeah.
Whenabouts did you start like creating that kind of content and stuff like that?
So I've always liked making, I guess, content. I used to review high-end audio and headphones, and I've done that all on a website. So it was written reviews, and I used to take pictures, and I was pressed for audio shows. And I'd started that when I was about 16 years old, and I progressed quite well in that world. And when I moved to the Middle East, I didn't really want to sit indoors listening to headphones when it was so nice outside. And I've always been super obsessed with the technology side of swimming, be it race suits. Um, tech that we can wear while swimming, which is sort of coming in. I remember when I was 13, I had this stopwatch that went on your thumb, and like as you pushed off, you could start it. So in training, because we didn't get timed in that club, I used to like time myself in training to see how fast I was going. So I've always been a bit nerdy with that sort of thing. And when I moved to the Middle East in 2017, I was like, oh, I want to review tech suits, and I really like certain models. So I started the channel in the summer of 2018. So it's been just under 5 years no, just under 6 years I've been doing the swimsuit guy now.
Oh, okay. So is that kind of a full-time job, or have you got like other things that you do on the side of that?
So right now it's my, like, I'd say what the swimsuit guy encompasses, which is more than just YouTube videos. That's my full-time living. When I first started doing it, I never knew I was gonna, or expected or hoped I'd make money doing it, or I was pretty naive and just wanted to basically get free tech suits. I knew from doing headphones I could get free review samples if I review things. So in my mind, I was like, if I can just get all the latest tech suits for free from the companies, then that's me happy. And as things progressed and my career's progressed, it's turned out that I can make money through sponsors. I can make money through selling merchandise, through ads, and I also sell online training programs on my website. And that's a big part of my business as well.
Yeah, no, in terms of that training kind of training program, I'm really interested in that personally. Could you tell us a little bit more about that, please?
So, I mean, the training program that I really offer, and my main demographic or market is master swimmers, and I think so. Not really super interesting to someone of your age who still swims in a club, but as a master swimmer, there's a lot less options for where you could go train. So someone like yourself, an age group swimmer, we have great programs all around the country. We have these school private school opportunities that offer scholarships with the likes of Mount Kelly, Plymouth Leander, Repton, Millfield. I'm probably missing out a few because there's so many these days, and there's some great opportunities. But if you're a master swimmer who still wants to race fast and be competitive on an all-time level and swim PBs at any age, which I have swimmers doing in their 40s and their 50s, swimming lifetime bests, there's not really any options. And also the content of what your session should be as you get older should be very different. So if you're 40 and you want to swim 50 freestyle really fast, you don't need to be swimming 8 times a week and doing doubles. And also you can't be doing doubles. So all my clients, they work full-time jobs. Some of them have wives and kids or husbands and kids, and they can't be dedicating the time that maybe you currently dedicate to swimming, or I definitely did when I was 15, 16, swimming 10 2-hour sessions a week. So it kind of creates a different problem, which is not just, oh, you've got this kid who will do anything that you ask of them, however much that is, but you've got time constraints, but you still want to swim fast. So you have to look at training differently. You can't just do 3 threshold sessions and 4 aerobic sessions a week, even if you think it's the best possibility, because they're telling you, well, I have 4 hours a week to swim and I want to swim PBs. And that's like, I don't know, it's a puzzle I quite enjoy doing. And I'd say I'm finding a lot of success with. I had 3 swimmers compete at the World Masters Championships last week in Doha. One won 2 titles. He won the 50 and 100 backstroke. Still swimming 26.3, 5 years after retiring from full-time swimming, which I think is pretty cool. 26.3 would be pretty competitive at any meet in the UK. And then 2 of my swimmers got 4th places in their main events. One missed the 50 breaststroke medal by 0.01, which was sad, and one missed his own British Masters record. But just to put into perspective, one of them was in the 40 to 44 category, so I'm 26.4 50 butterfly, and the other one, so I'm 29.5 50 breaststroke. So like they're they're swimming competitive times, and all of these are swimming 3-4 times a week.
Yeah, no, that's extremely impressive. So, although you do, although you, although, sorry, um, although that's definitely very beneficial to master swimmers, you think that could also help, say, swimmers of my age? You think doing like, say, 4 hours of training a week could also be beneficial to someone like me?
Look, no, 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 not at all. But I do think we can think about what we're doing across the scope of all ages and swimming, and I think we can take things from everything. Um, I think the biggest thing that I would say that I think can change in age group swimming is the process of mastering technique. And ultimately, I think my biggest shortcoming as a swimmer has always been my technique. I'm not technically very gifted. I can get super strong. I can go to the gym and I can outlift swimmers who are way faster than me. I can be super fit. I can train 20 hours a week. I have done, and I've been super fit. I've been super lean. I've been super strong. But my technique is the limiting factor, and I think it's such a overlooked thing in training programs, and you kind of go from learn to swim into a competitive swimming club, and there's no sort of middle ground. Like learn to swim is very basic stuff. It's not competitive techniques. It's just, well, can you swim a length of each stroke? And then you go to a competitive swimming club where instantly our coaches want us to be super competitive on a national level. Coaches, age group coaches get rewarded on how many county qualifiers they have, how many national qualifiers they have, how many national medalists they have. So they want to fast track this process. They want to fast track how well our younger swimmers can perform. And I can tell you as a coach, the quickest way to do that is by doing a lot of aerobic work and a lot of threshold work. If you take a swimmer who's just 10 or 12 or 13 or 14, you do enough hard work with them, they will get quick really quick. And at what expense? And that's where you end up getting some great 14-year-olds who have done a lot of work, and then they sort of peter off through their later years. And I think we should have a process where we do more technique work earlier on. And instead of moving up swimmers when they, to a squad above when they hit a level of competition that's good enough, maybe they qualify for regionals and they move up a squad, or maybe just, oh, you're 14 now, you get to move up a squad because, we have 10 to 14-year-olds and 14 to 16-year-olds and 16 plus. I think it should be done when you have a mastery of technique. And that's why someone like a Summer McIntosh, who was setting world records at such an early age, she mastered the technique, and then she was able to do the heavy aerobic and threshold work, which he done a lot of with Ben Titley, her coach. So I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, but I think you should have a level of mastery before you then compound it with the aerobic work. That being said, and sorry, I'm just waffling a little bit here now, but to answer your question in terms of more maybe speed work, I think swimmers should be able to enjoy their training. And I think that a longer technique base also pairs with, I would like to see longer careers of swimmers. I've coached swimmers. I've seen so many people quit 14, 15, 16, 17. They're quitting before they get to uni, or they're quitting before they finish uni. And all I can say as a 28-year-old right now, I'm so much stronger than when I was your age. So if you can just swim till you're my age, or 25 or whatever, you will be way faster. But half the challenge is, how do we keep you in the sport that long? And if you quit at 16, 17, you're never going to realize your potential. And maturity rates are so different and stuff like that. So I think the point I would like to make is, I think it's okay if we give swimmers a little bit more of what they want to do. So some swimmers like sprinting. And if you like sprinting, you don't have to, it's not a reward to do something fun like diving in a training session. Like, why should it be like this magical thing that we dive once in a blue moon? Like, why are we not diving every day? I'm not saying 20, 30 minutes of dives every day, but I'm saying, why can't you tailor it into a warm-up where you do 4 rounds of a dive and glide, 100 drill, a 15 fast? Like that takes 10, 12 minutes and means you could do 4 dives every day. That means you do, if you're swimming 10 times a week, that's 40 dives a week. And tell me that if you're doing 40 dives a week, your dive's not going to be better than it was when you're doing 1 dive every month, or you only dive at competitions. And that's just one small intricate detail. So no, I don't think kids should be doing 4 hours a week and they should be doing all sprint work. But I do think we should let them do a little bit more of what they like. And I do think when you start getting specific with training at maybe 16 years old, you do need to get really specific and when we're talking about a senior level, then yes, sprinting is very different to distance swimming.
Yeah, no, yeah, I completely agree. You've got to like kind of lay the foundation of technique and stuff like that. And like swimming as a sport is known to be one of the most tedious sports in terms of kind of just training morning and night and just doing long aerobic sessions. And I know personally I would love to do stuff like dives at the start of a session and stuff like that just to make it a bit more interesting. So I've got a question in terms of like gym work. Do you think swimmers should like do gym earlier on, or do you think they should incorporate it later after kind of the technical foundation?
Gym's not my area of expertise, so I want to preface whatever I say. Don't be too critical on me in the comments because I'm not a gym coach. I'm not a strength coach, but I think I think gym or land training or dry land for a big period of time should be just doing other sports. And I think I've had some interesting conversations. So someone like Cam McAvoy, who's one of the fastest men in the world right now, won the world title in the 50 freestyle. He's training circa 3,000 meters a week, right? And Pete, I had some stimulated conversations with other coaches at the World Championships who had, oh, but he's done a lot of work over the years. And I'm like, okay, but what is all that work, all that aerobic base? What does that contribute now to him as a sprinter? Well, it improves the heart's capacity. It strengthens the blood vessels, the capillaries, stuff like that. You can't take away from that. And while that's right, that's correct, but that doesn't mean you have to swim 60,000 meters a week at 14 to get that effect. You can just swim 20,000 meters a week, but play 2 games of football, be on the track team, do gymnastics, do 2 PE sessions a week in school. Like, you can still get that aerobic foundation from just being an active person, an active lifestyle. And that also means that when you do have to then end up going a little bit more committed into swimming, which you may have to do, you may like to be the best in the world. Now, I've coached world-class 400 IM and 200 butterfly swimmers. We swam 10 times a week. That was the only option. We swam 10 2-hour plus sessions a week. Like, you're not getting around that, but there's a time and a place for that. If you've done that since you're 12, you're going to freaking hate it by the time you're 25 or 30. So, you can pave off a few years of that. And I think until 16, if you want, instead of going to the gym, get them doing other sports, get them doing stuff that is going to give them motor skills that might be transferable to swimming, team sports, ball sports, sports that involve core muscles such as gymnastics. I mean, you get anyone who used to do gymnastics, swim, they're freaking awesome. So that's my take. I wouldn't get them in the gym lifting weights. I think that's stupid. You can leave that until university age, because again, it's like another tool in the arsenal that you can just like add in. And when you add it in, it's like, wow, this makes a great difference. So yeah, that's my take. I wouldn't rush the gym side of things at all.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yes, it's really good to hear your opinion about that. So, considering like how you're a coach now, and obviously you're an ex-swimmer, what do you think you prefer? Like, say on a race day, do you prefer being the coach behind the swimmer and being able to watch the swimmer, or do you prefer to be the swimmer?
I'm not an ex-swimmer. I still swim. I'm
Oh,
actually
yeah,
racing.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
actually racing tomorrow. I do master stuff, and I enjoy swimming myself, and I think I can learn a lot by trying things in terms of training mythology with myself and seeing what works for me as one sort of test sample. But to actually answer your question, swimmer versus coach, I prefer coaching. Coaching, I think coaching is like my feelings towards swimming magnified by however many athletes I have. So, and I love age group coaching the most, because if my peak feeling, my biggest high in life is when I swim a PB, right? If that's the ultimate thing is winning a title or swimming a PB, I can go to a meet with 30 kids and I can get that feeling like 30 times in one day. Like, and especially with my swimming now, I mean, I might not PB for years and years at a time, but I go to a meet. We went to nationals last year with DDA, and I had 2 kids pick up titles, so I got a massive high. I think all but one of my swimmers made a final. So again, I got that massive buzz of making a final like 8 times over that meet with 8 different swimmers. And yeah, for me, I'd say it's 99% of the buzz of me doing something well I get from every single one of my swimmers. I wouldn't say it's quite the 100%, but you get it way more, so it's way more appealing. That being said, the most nervous I've ever been in my life, and I mean I couldn't feel my entire body when Chad was stood behind the blocks for the 200 butterfly Commonwealth final. I couldn't feel a single, like my whole body went numb. I've never had adrenaline like it. It was insane. Yeah, that was the craziest feeling of my life.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, is there kind of anything else you want to add? Do you want to ask anything to us as like obviously we're Mount Kelly swimmers, or anything you want to ask us as like our little podcast?
Uh, I've seen you've had some great guests. What's your sort of motive behind doing this? What message are you trying to bring out to the world of swimming?
Well, yeah, great question. So we kind of me, it was me, Abdul and Barney, who currently who started the podcast kind of. So we were like one day we were kind of just sat with each other, just kind of talking about swimming and stuff like that. I mean, we were kind of just like, why don't we create a podcast? And like the whole like idea of it was mainly it was more for ourselves than anyone else. And we were thinking more like, let's try and learn about what all the good swimmers think. We were more into like the mental side of swimming and how they kind of we wanted to gain an insight as to how they felt or prepared for like a race or something like that. And then we realized after interviewing like the likes of Daniel Whiffen, who's now current world champion and world record holder, after interviewing him, we realized this like content is definitely worth trying to publish among the whole swimming community. And it's just like I feel like it could be beneficial to a lot of people to listen to what like all the best people have to say.
One more for you. Of all the podcasts you've listened to, not performed by yourself, but what's your favorite podcast? If you had to recommend one podcast to everyone listening to go and
Well, I really loved it was the most recent one, episode 8, I think it was, with the triathlete. And he and you were mentioning before how you can do like multiple sports at once other than swimming to avoid things such as tedium. And obviously, as a triathlete, he has to do running, swimming, and cycling, doesn't he? And he was like, I found it really interesting how he like managed to balance all those kind of things, and how, as a swimmer, you actually, if you were to be a triathlete, that swimmers have like a big advantage going into like things such as triathlons, because a lot of people like runners and cyclists actually struggle with the swimming part and stuff like that.
yeah. And what about a podcast from another host? So another complete like. Do you listen to any other podcasts that you've found worth recommending?
Well, in terms of podcasts, I don't really listen to other sport related podcasts. I just listen to more chat podcasts, which
Okay.
with like other people like that. But Striver's podcast is one that
Okay.
they also interviewed one of our old interviewees, Alexia Sotomayor, and
Okay.
they do some really good stuff. They've got good kind of equipment and stuff like that. They're really well set up. So I would definitely recommend go and listen to them.
All right. Will do.
All right, okay. Thank you very much for coming on today. It's been a pleasure to talk to you and hear more about you.
Oh, thank you very much. Cheers, and make sure you check out more. Well, I look forward to checking out more of your podcasts in the future.
Yeah, thank you very much.